President Ramnath Kovind says new education policy will restore India's glory as global center of learning. Upper House of Parliament endorses Epidemic Diseases Amendment Bill and Insolvency and Bankruptcy Code Second Amendment Bill 2020. Landslide claims 2 lives in Arunachal Pradesh. Heavy downpour ravages roads, damages properties in Garo Hills district of Meghalaya. COVID-19 infections continue to rise in Northeast. Sikkim to impose total lockdown in Gangtok for 7 days. And Manipur Chief Minister N. Biren Singh launches several projects, says his government accords priority to development of hill areas. Good evening viewers and welcome to the Northeast News Bulletin. This is Saraswati Singha and now with the details. In national news first, President Ramnath Kovind today said the national education policy aims to reorient the education system towards meeting the needs of the 21st century. He said the policy will not only strengthen the future of India's youth but also set the country on course in becoming an Atmanirbhar Bharat. Kovind said this while inaugurating the Visitors' Conference on Implementation of the New Education Policy 2020 through video conference. He said the policy sets the vision of developing an equitable and vibrant knowledge society by providing quality education to all. Speaking on the occasion, Union Education Minister Pokhriyal Nishank said the new education policy will promote research and innovation in the country. He said this policy will also make the country a superpower of knowledge.
Towards meeting the needs of the 21st century. It sets the vision of developing an equitable and vibrant knowledge society by providing quality education to all. This calls for achieving the twin objectives of inclusion and excellence. The policy also seeks to discourage rote learning and overemphasis on marks or grades. It seeks to encourage critical thinking and a spirit of inquiry.
In more national news, Rajya Sabha today passed the Epidemic Amendment Bill 2020. The bill amends the Epidemic Diseases Act 1897 to include protections for healthcare service personnel combating epidemic diseases and expands the power of the central government to prevent the spread of such diseases. The House also passed the Insolvency and Bankruptcy Code Second Amendment Bill 2020. It amends the Insolvency and Bankruptcy Code 2016, which provides a time-bound process for resolving insolvency in companies and among individuals. Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman moved the bill. Meanwhile, Minister of State of Defence Shripad Naik in a written reply in the Rajya Sabha today said FDI inflows of the 2,883 crore rupees have been reported in defence and aerospace sector through automatic route till June this year. He said FDI inflows of 1,849 crore rupees have been reported in defence and aerospace sectors after 2014.
Probably is one of the highest that budgets have seen in this country, and this obviously has brought breakup of how much is the cash outgo, how much is the technical supplementary and how much is token supplementary during the challenging times. That the additional resources which are being placed in this first supplementary demand for grants largely is going towards people-centric activities so that monies can reach people, and they are going through some of the most critical.
Moving on to Northeast now, in Arunachal Pradesh, at least 2 people have lost their lives in a rain-triggered flash flood. A landslide swept the house they were residing at Ego Camp near Ego Bridge under Dari Circle of Lepada district. According to reports, at least 15 houses and paddy fields were damaged during cloudburst-triggered flash floods and landslides. Overflowing waters of the Hai and the Kiri rivers entered houses, damaged properties and submerged paddy fields in the low-lying areas. Meanwhile, Chief Minister Pema Khandu has announced ex gratia for the next of kin of the deceased. He instructed the district administration and the departments concerned to take measures to safeguard the life and property in the affected district. On the other hand, in Meghalaya, incessant rains that lashed Garo Hills for close to 12 long hours beginning late Wednesday night led to landslides disrupting road communication, damaging properties and inundating low-lying areas of the region. While no loss of life has been reported from any part of the region so far, the downpour triggered damage was mostly seen in the urban areas, particularly Tura, where the storm left in its wake landslides and mudslides in congested areas of the town. Due to downpour, three main rivers of Garo Hills, Simsang River in east and south Garo Hills, Jinjiram River in the plain belt and Ganol River in west Garo Hills were flowing above the danger mark. The three rivers also inundated large swathes of low-lying areas including standing paddy crops in Damalgre, Mugdangra and Garobara region. This is the second major storm that hit the region in less than 2 weeks.
And the people have been displaced from their houses, and most of them are just staying along the roadside. Contacted the district administration to do all the necessary relief operation, and also water supply is being done by the PHE department by sending tanker time to time.
In the corona update from the region, Arunachal Pradesh has reported altogether 7,005 cases with 5,106 recoveries and 13 deaths. Manipur has reported altogether 8,607 cases with 6,629 recoveries and 52 deaths. The number in Meghalaya has reached 4,445 with 2,437 recoveries and 32 deaths. In Mizoram, there are now altogether 1,548 cases with 973 recoveries. In an advertent mistake in our evening bulletin on Friday, the 18th of September, it was said there were 15 deaths in Mizoram, whereas COVID is yet to claim a life in the state. We express our regret for the mistake. Nagaland has reported altogether 5,357 cases with 4,129 recoveries and 15 deaths. Sikkim has a total of 2,303 cases with 1,857 recoveries and 24 deaths. Lastly, Tripura has recorded the highest number of 21,484 cases with 14,142 recoveries and 235 deaths. The Sikkim government has ordered a complete lockdown in Gangtok municipal area from 21st to 27th September due to a spike in cases in the city. All passenger and vehicle movement except those involved in essential services will be prohibited. Meanwhile, 3 cabinet ministers and 2 BJP MLAs have tested positive for COVID-19. Director General cum Secretary of State's Health Department, Pempa Shering Bhutia, has informed that ministers and MLAs were found COVID-19 positive in a test conducted for upcoming Sikkim Legislative Assembly session to be held on 21st September. Agriculture Minister Loknath Sharma, Forest Minister Karma Loda Bhutia, Power Minister MN Sherpa, MLA of Meli, Farwanti Tamang and MLA of Barfung, TT Bhutia have tested positive. In the corona update from Assam, Health and Family Welfare Minister Dr. Himanta Viswa Sharma in a tweet said altogether 2,509 persons tested positive during the last 24 hours, the positivity rate being 6.96%. The total number of COVID-19 cases in the state now stands at 1,52,858 with 1,23,684 recoveries. The death toll has increased to 540. The country today registered the highest single-day recoveries of 95,880 COVID patients. The Health Minister said the recovery rate of COVID-19 has further improved to 79.28%. The total number of recoveries has reached over 42 lakh. The Union Health Ministry said India has overtaken the USA and became number 1 in terms of global COVID-19 recoveries. The constantly increasing recoveries have ensured that the actual caseload of the country is reduced and currently comprises only 19.10% of the total positive cases. Presently, the total number of active cases in the country is 10,13,000. Currently, India's case fatality rate is at 1.61%, which is one of the lowest globally. In the last 24 hours, 1,247 deaths were reported, taking the toll to 85,619. India's COVID-19 tally has crossed 53 lakh with 93,337 new infections being reported in a day. Across the globe, the total number of COVID-19 cases has risen to 3,719,365, whereas 2,23,53,357 people have recovered till date. Meanwhile, the death toll rose to 9,56,881. India is currently in the second place in terms of cases, while the US accounted for the world's highest number of cases at 69,25,941. Russia has approved R-Pharm's Coronavir treatment for outpatients with mild to moderate COVID-19 infections, and the antiviral drug could be rolled out to pharmacies in the country as soon as next week, the company said on Friday. Coronavirus approval as a prescription drug follows the green light for another Russian COVID-19 drug, Avifavir, in May. Both are based on Favipiravir, which was developed in Japan and is widely used there as the basis for viral treatments. Our Pharma's announcement in another sign Russia is pushing hard to take a global lead in the race against the virus. It is already exporting its COVID-19 tests and has clinched several international deals for supplies of its Sputnik V vaccine. The drug was first approved for in-hospital use to treat COVID-19 in July, a government register showed. In Assam, Health and Family Welfare Minister Dr. Himanta Biswa Sharma today said 6 children will receive the benefit of bone marrow transplantation and 70 will receive free cardiac treatment under the Sneha Sparsha scheme as part of the Seva Saptah being observed to celebrate Prime Minister Narendra Modi's birthday. Dr. Sharma made this announcement at a function at Guwahati Medical College Hospital organized by the National Health Mission.
অসম চৰকাৰৰ আন যিবিলাক আঁচনি আছিলে দুৰাৰোগ্য ৰোগসকলক সহায় কৰা এই আঁচনিবিলাকো আমি আৰম্ভ কৰাৰ বাবে সিদ্ধান্ত লৈছোঁ। অসম চৰকাৰৰ কেইখনমান হৃদয়স্পৰ্শী আঁচনি আছিলে। এখন হ'ল হৃদয়ত বেমাৰ থকা কণমানি
In Manipur, Chief Minister N. Biren Singh on Friday inaugurated different projects apart from laying the foundation stone for several projects. The projects included 2 transit accommodation for doctors and teachers, barrack for police training college and a model police station. On the other hand, the Chief Minister also laid foundation stones for 5 heliports, 12 storage warehouses, CEO office, 9 DC offices, 17 transit hostels for government officials, a 1,000 capacity convention center with training hall, new women's market complex, different buildings for Manipur police and others. The Chief Minister said the state government is giving priority to development of hill areas because hill districts are less developed as compared with valley districts. He said the state government is trying its best to develop better air connectivity to interior areas of the state. In Meghalaya, the 133rd Unitarian Day was observed across the state on Friday. In West Jaintia Hills, this day was celebrated with strict adherence to the standard operating procedures of COVID-19. The church in Juwai is the mother church of all Unitarian churches in Meghalaya, and it was established by late Hazom Kishore Singh Lingdo Nongbri on September 18, 1887. As a mark of respect, limited members of the church assembled in the morning to place a garland at Memorial Monument statue of late H.K. Singh. A short prayer service was held inside the church in the presence of special invites from Sinzuk Wahe Chnong, Dorbar Chnong Timpang and members of the church who are the frontline warriors in the fight against COVID-19.
And everybody knows is being affected by this pandemic. But in spite of that, the essence of this celebration is important. The first thing is that because of the pandemic, and on the backdrop of the pandemic, what the church is trying to do is we are trying to show our gratitude to the people who are involved in in fighting against this COVID-19.
And to end the news, the headlines once again. President Ramnath Kovind says new education policy will restore India's glory as global center of learning. A Upper House of Parliament endorses Epidemic Diseases Amendment Bill and Insolvency and Bankruptcy Code Second Amendment Bill 2020. Landslide claims 2 lives in Arunachal Pradesh. Heavy downpour ravages roads, damages properties in Garo Hills district of Meghalaya. COVID-19 infections continue to rise in Northeast. Sikkim to impose total lockdown in Gangtok for 7 days. And Manipur Chief Minister N. Biren Singh launches several projects, says his government accords priority to development of hill areas. And that brings us to the end of this evening's bulletin. Thank you for tuning in. Namaskar.